Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. All people. The number one player in the cultivation world. Chapter 1. Looking at the river of history, a meteorite fell, and the people in the sky domain of the comprehension world were devastated, and all living beings took a long time to recover before recovering. After everyone built their homes, they suddenly discovered that the whole world had changed. The original chi refining and building fund pill and other cultivation systems don't work anymore. Instead, it turned into a LV.1 swordsman, LV.1 summoner, etc., hanging above everyone's heads. Not only the various small sects in the sky domain, but even the great powers of the holy places also started from scratch. But, fortunately, the Holy Land has a rich heritage, which is far beyond what small sects around the world can match. The traditional body cultivation, sword cultivation, formation cultivation, alchemy cultivation, talisman cultivation, beast cultivation and so on still exist in the cultivation world. However, the titles of some people have changed. Weird name. In general, it is still divided into Shusho and Dharma Shu. Shusho can beat others madly, such as swordsmanship, knife technique, shield technique, summoning. Faxi provides help for Shusho, such as pills, talismans, formations. The spirit beasts and monsters have also changed, their levels are also revealed, and some new spirit beasts have appeared. However, what remains unchanged is that many mortals who can't cultivate, most of them still return to their old professions. For example, vendor, farmer, cook. Immortal seekers and aspirants do not know how many people there are. Even if the sky domain has changed, mortals who cannot cultivate still account for the majority. But there are also mortals who have mutated and become members of the cultivators. Therefore, the major holy places hereby issue an order that from now on, all subordinate sects and cities will teach without discrimination. Until the disciples of the sects awaken, the major holy places will send people to receive them. Zhang Shuyu closed the book, his deep eyes moved slightly, and he couldn't help rubbing the golden rhombus pendant on his left ear with his fingers. He had just traveled here, and he joined the Xuanyu sect of Xuanyu City. In the past 3 years, regardless of the written test or the practice, he ranked first, so he became the chief among this group of disciples. He didn't know how many times he had read the history of the firmament domain. No matter how you looked at it, it looked like the server on the game side had merged with the firmament domain, resulting in data disorder and merging with other games. I just don't know whether the world he is in is real or a game world. He didn't know how many rules of the game that others didn't know as early as modern times, so there was no pressure to learn. But, maybe it's because he hasn't completely integrated into his current body. Except for his family, he always feels that he is out of tune with the people in this world, and many people don't want to associate with him. There is only one good friend, Sun Yangyang. Brother, why are you still reading? The awakening ceremony will be held tomorrow, so there is no exam. Sun Yangyang scratched his head, walked to his desk, and sat cross-legged. Zhang Shuyu looked at him. Aren't you nervous? Nervous. Of course I am nervous. I also want to be a tank, like a shield warrior in Suzaku continent, who can shout the name of my city-state when charging. Hey, don't tell me. The clip of him yelling, Demacia, was recorded with a photo stone and passed on to Eugene's forum square, and it's still on the hot list. Zhang Shuyu regretted asking him a question. As long as this guy started a chatterbox, he would be eloquent and couldn't stop. He held his forehead and thought while listening to his words. Finally, he gave up. It's useless to think too much. After all, there are no more than 11 cultivators. The word, Fanju, is not just for talking, but the probability will be higher after entering the sect. It just depends on his luck. If you end up as a mortal, but awakened as a purple-level mortal, it's not a loss, and you can live a happy life. In his understanding, there is no rubbish talent, only rubbish people. It's just, he still wants to find the original owner's own sister, no, his own sister, Zhang Shuli. The next day, in the central square of Zanyuzong, several formation summoners have already arranged the formation, and in the center of the formation is suspended a purple light ball comparable to a building. More than 100 sect disciples sat upright, listening to sect master Ning Jie's speech. Disciples, after 3 years of study, you have all learned and mastered the theoretical knowledge about cultivators. Today is the day you wake up, and it is also the day that determines your future. I won't talk nonsense here. I hope that everyone can reach the height of the honorary elder Zhang Yuyan and become the pillar of our cultivation world. The honorary elder Zhang Yuyan that Ning Jie was talking about was once a disciple of the Xuanyu sect, and he was awakened to become a summoner of light, and he is now a power up to level 100. Ning Jie often uses his deeds to teach his disciples. After awakening their respective talent directions, they can gain experience by playing Dungeon Secret Realms, participating in various battlefields, or killing monsters in the suburbs. There are two ways to enhance strength: accumulating experience points to increase the level, and the second is proficient skills. Fight with all kinds of demons and monsters to carve out a living space for the human race. As a ray of light shot up into the sky, the awakening array of spiritual energy was absorbed and started to operate, and the purple light ball began to rotate slowly. Ning Jie waved his hand. "Follow me, let's go." He took more than 100 high school students to the playground. Everyone was worried. Some people usually behave in a mediocre way, but in the end they awaken to become powerful cultivators. Some people usually perform well, but the result is just mere mortals. When the group came to the front of the magic circle, Ning Jie walked up to an old man and said respectfully, "Senior Zhao, I'm sorry to trouble you today." Senior Zhao shook his head. It should be done. Senior Zhao did not hide his own strength, and everyone present could see it. LV.65 Formation Master Zhao Qingyan. Zhang Shuyu was a little surprised. It turned out to be an array repairer. And the level is as high as 65. The array cultivators are rare cultivators of Dharma cultivators, and they are not common among cultivators. Formation repair is very popular on the battlefield. Once the formation is set up, that area, whoever enters will die. Ning Jie and Zhao Qingyan walked back after exchanging a few pleasantries. He took out a list and looked at the disciples. The disciple whose name I read next enters the awakening formation. Disciples, no matter what kind of person you awaken into today, don't be discouraged, your existence has your value and significance. First one, Zhao Yibo. Zhao Yibo came out in response, with a little apprehension, stepped on the steps into the awakening circle in midair. The suspended purple ball of light rotated rapidly, accompanied by a brilliant radiance. Zhao Yibo's awakening ended. LV.1 Farmer Zhao Yibo. Zhao Yibo's face paled. He never thought he would become a farmer. Zhao Yibo has become a farmer. Farmers are fine too. If you can become a farm expert in the future, or even the Holy Land Shenong, it will be a good talent. Yeah, among mortals, the farmer is not bad. After Zhao Yibo got off the circle, the disciples who were usually close to him comforted him one after another. Dong Yi, whose name was called, trotted all the way into the light ball with his clothes on and off. It is also a brilliant light. LV.1 Cook Dong Yi. Dong Yi is very satisfied with his talent. It's great. My father is a cook. I didn't expect that I would become a cook too, inheriting my father's career. One after another the disciples went up to awaken, and most of them became mortals. Occasionally there are only a few cultivators who practice Dharma. As more and more people entered the purple light sphere, Ning Jie's complexion became ugly. Zhao Qingyan stood beside Ning Jie. As the arranger of the awakening formation, he was very clear about the awakening situation. This year, your disciples are average. Hearing Zhao Qingyan's words, Ning Jie also sighed. Yeah, so far there hasn't been a single rare cultivator. Zhao Qingyan sneered. There are still rare cultivators. How many years has it been since your Xuanyu sect produced rare cultivators? It would be great if you can produce a cultivator. Ning Jie smiled helplessly. That's right, there are only 1 or 2 rare cultivators that can be produced in the entire Xuanyu city every year. I expect too much. Shu Wan. Ning Jie called another name. Shu Wan came out in response. Before leaving, she took a look at Zhang Shuyu, with a hint of provocation in her eyes. She and Zhang Shuyu are known as the 2 geniuses of Zhan Yuzong. However, in terms of rankings, Zhang Shuyu has always overwhelmed Shu Wan. Shu Wan has always been the second child in 10,000 years. Shu Wan was always suffocating in her heart, she would not admit defeat. Zhang Shuyu turned a deaf ear to Shu Wan's provocation, as if he hadn't seen it, and remained calm. HMPH. This girl will let you know who is the real genius. Like a proud crane, Shu Wan walked into the awakening formation with confident steps. Zhao Qingyan, who had always kept his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes and took a look at Shu Wan. This girl is not bad. Ning Jie was slightly taken aback. Why did Senior Zhao say that? Her mental power is more than twice that of ordinary people, and she may awaken as a summoner. Summoner. Ning Jie regained his spirits all of a sudden. Summoners are practitioners of art skills. This year, so far, there has been no surgery repair. If it is some special summoner, then it is a proper rare cultivator. The magic circle is running, and the light is bright. 5 light balls of different colors suddenly rose above the light ball, exploding like fireworks. Ning Jie was so excited that he couldn't help but tremble. Vision. A rare cultivator. The appearance of the vision represents the birth of a rare cultivator. LV.1 Elemental Summoner, Rare, Shu Wan. Ning Jie was in an extremely excited mood at the moment. Just now he was saying that rare cultivators were just wishful thinking. Unexpectedly, when I wanted to doze off, I came to a pillow, and just after I made my wish, it came true. Wow, Shu Wan is so powerful. She is a rare cultivator in the art training. Element Summoner. It sounds very powerful. It is said that the attack power after leveling up is quite terrifying. Nonsense. In a city like our Xuanyu city, a purple level elemental summoner can just throw a forbidden spell down, and it can be wiped out directly. As expected of a genius. Well-deserved reputation. Shu Wan also walked out of the ball of light full of excitement. Zhao Qingyan said something specially. Girl, not bad. Ning Jie's face was also smiling like the rising sun at this time, and he was extremely happy. Shu Wan saluted Zhao Qingyan respectfully. Thank you, Senior, for your compliment. After Shu Wan returned, a group of disciples surrounded her, asking questions non-stop. Surgery. A rare cultivator. That's really rare. In addition to classification, talents are also graded. Except mortals are not rated. The talents of skill repair and law repair can be divided into 5 levels: low level, middle level, high level, rare, and legendary. Blue level talents are almost rare, and the entire Xuanwu continent may not be able to produce one in 10 years. There are relatively more rare cultivators, like Xuanyu City, one can be produced every year, and sometimes there will be 2. The current Shu Wan and Zhang Yuyan, whom Ning Jie often talks about, are all rare cultivators of art. Zhang Shuyu. Hearing his name, Zhang Shuyu raised his feet and walked towards the magic circle. Shu Wan looked at Zhang Shuyu with a look of challenge in her eyes. Ning Jie asked, Senior Zhao, what do you think of this child? Zhao Qingyan glanced at Zhang Shuyu. Apart from being extremely calm and steady, there is nothing special about it. Ning Jie said, our sect has 2 geniuses, Shu Wan just now is the second, and he is the first. Zhao Qingyan said lightly, rank and awakening are not necessarily related, you should understand this truth. Ning Jie naturally understood, but he still had expectations. If there is another rare cultivator, then he will be so happy. The magic circle was running, bursting out with bright light. The originally clear world suddenly darkened, and in the blink of an eye, dark clouds overwhelmed the top. A gust of cold wind blew from all directions, and the temperature dropped sharply. Day turned into night, like the end of the world. Why is it windy? A lot of dark clouds are coming. It's cold, is it going to rain? Ning Jie asked in surprise, what's going on? Zhao Qingyan stared at the purple light ball, and said lightly, vision. Awakening vision. Ning Jie almost exclaimed, such a massive awakening vision was unheard of. Then he became excited and looked at where Zhang Shuyu was. To create such a big phenomenon, if God does not give a rare practitioner, then it cannot be justified. I just don't know whether it's a FA cultivator or an art cultivator. No, impossible, I won't lose to you again. Shu Wan clenched her fists. This vision is much bigger than the movement she made just now. Although she refused to admit defeat in her heart, she had to admit it purely from the vision. Suddenly a disciple shouted loudly, look, there is movement in the dark clouds. Everyone looked up. There seemed to be a blue fire in the dark clouds. Yuhuo floats in the air, rising and falling. There seems to be something else besides fire. Because there was also a howling sound from inside, which made people feel chills in the back. Finally, the sharp-eyed disciple saw the existence in the dark cloud, and was scared to death. Fell to the ground. Yes, it's undead, everything in the dark clouds is undead. As his voice fell, the picture in the dark cloud was fully revealed. Thousands of undead are densely packed, and the fire. It is the soul fire in their heads. Each of the undead glowed with pale light, ferocious and terrifying. Although they knew that this was just a vision, many disciples were still scared and backed away. One of the soul fires fell from the sky and landed on Zhang Shuyu. Afterwards, the vision disappeared in an instant, and everything returned to normal. Open black lens bracket LV.1 Ghost Cultivator Necromancer, the only hidden, Zhang Shuyu close black lens bracket. Not a rare cultivator, but a hidden type. And it is the only hidden type. This means that there is only one talent in the entire firmament domain. Unless Zhang Shuyu is dead, there will be no second identical practitioner. Hidden cultivators are rarer than rare cultivators, and even less than legendary cultivators. It is not clear whether it is strong or not, but it is certain that it is less. Zhang Shuyu's Ghost Cultivator Necromancer talent is the only one in the whole world. Zhang Shuyu is amazing. He has become a hidden cultivator, and he is the only one. How could his luck be so good? Could it be that the magic circle made a mistake? Hidden cultivators are not necessarily strong. There have been many people in history who were also hidden cultivators, and they didn't get along very well afterwards. That's right, it's just that there are few hidden practitioners, and they don't necessarily have to be powerful. But the vision just now is so scary, and he is a ghost cultivator. Does he have to deal with dead people all the time? After Zhang Shuyu awakened, he got down from the magic circle. The only hidden cultivator. He was also a little excited, but nothing could be seen from his face. Emotions and anger are invisible. Just hide the shock in your heart. Why put it on your face? Little friend, please stay. When passing by Zhao Qingyan suddenly stopped him. Zhang Shuyu turned around and saluted Zhao Qingyan. Senior, what are your orders? Zhao Qingyan asked. You are a hidden cultivator, and the old man has never seen it before. Can you show your skills? Facing Zhao Qingyan's request, Zhang Shuyu did not refuse. Senior, please wait a moment. He had just awakened, and he himself was not familiar with it. He only has 2 skills now, Soul Fire LV.1, Summon Undead Puppet LV.1. Soul Fire burns the target's soul, causing continuous burning damage, and the damage depends on the user's mental strength and skill level. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Summon Undead Puppet. Summon a red level undead puppet. Puppets can be divided into red level, orange level, yellow level, green level, blue level, purple level, mythical. Close black lens bracket. This also tells the positioning of Zhang Shuyu Ghost Cultivator Necromancer, a cultivator belonging to the summoning series. Surely Soul Fire wasn't for the show, so Zhang Shuyu chose Summon Undead Puppet. When the skill was activated, a black vortex appeared around Zhang Shuyu. Then, an undead puppet burning with red soul fire came out of the black vortex. Zhang Shuyu's initial mental power dropped from 20 to 10 in an instant, fully half consumed. Red level undead puppets, the bones on their bodies are all brown. There are many cracks all over the body, and even the knife in his hand is old and worn out. I don't know which garbage dump it was picked up from. No, more than a knife. The whole undead puppet looks like it came out of a garbage dump. Such a red level undead puppet doesn't look a little powerful, as if it will fall apart at any time. Zhang Shuyu also checked the attributes of the undead puppet. The 4 attributes of strength, agility, spirit, and constitution are quite balanced, all of which are 15. There are no pros and no cons. Temporarily no skills, only use normal attacks. When the undead puppet appeared, the disciples of the ivory tower let out a cry of surprise, and took a few steps back unconsciously. People are always afraid of things that look scary, not to mention ghost cultivators and demon cultivators that rarely appear in the cultivation world. There are only a few bold ones, and there is no movement. Like Sun Yangyang, on the contrary, with a hint of curiosity. Zhao Qingyan's fingertips glowed, and then fell on the undead puppet like a gust of wind. There was a red light in the eyes of the undead puppet. Looking towards Zhao Qingyan, the soul fire also jumped violently. The undead puppet is attacked. Do you want to fight back? If you don't make a choice within 10 seconds, you will automatically counterattack. A prompt popped up in Zhang Shuyu's mind, and he quickly ordered the undead puppet not to move. Zhao Qingyan was smiling. It's good to be vigilant. He is a level 65 cultivator, and his level of detection is very high. Zhang Shuyu is only LV 1, and his summoned creatures will actually become hostile to him. Through the detection technique, Zhao Qingyan saw the attributes of the undead puppet. The attributes are ordinary, nothing special. However, Zhang Shuyu is only LV.1 now, and his talent cannot be seen from this attribute. Maybe this undead puppet will become more powerful after the level is higher. Zhao Qingyan waved his hand. Work hard, maybe you will do something in the future. Zhang Shuyu saluted Zhao Qingyan again. The undead puppet walked behind Zhang Shuyu, making a creaking sound, accompanied by gusts of cold wind, which added a bit of ghostly meaning. When he returned to his original position, many disciples unconsciously wanted to stay away from him. Golems are too scary. Yet. Sun Yangyang came over. Can I touch it? Zhang Shuyu nodded, and Sun Yangyang bravely reached out and touched the undead puppet. The steel plate feels a little cold to the touch. The flame on the head has no heat, and the closer it is to the flame, the colder it is. Sun Yangyang asked, is this puppet powerful? Zhang Shuyu shook his head. I don't know, but it should be better than you. Really, he looks kind of shabby. At this time, Ning Jie called Sun Yangyang's name, and Sun Yangyang responded. I'm going to awaken first, and I'll talk about it later. Looking at the undead puppet, Zhang Shuyu thought silently, recycle. The next second, a vortex appeared in front of him again, and the undead puppet disappeared after entering the vortex. The attribute bar of its own mustard space also changes accordingly. It was originally mustard space, 0/10. Now it becomes mustard space, 1/10, undead puppet quantity, 1. Zhang Shuyu carefully checked the introduction of mustard space. The mustard space is a place to accommodate summoned creatures. Summoned creatures that are not usually used can be placed in it, and can be summoned at any time when needed. The summoned creatures summoned from the mustard space do not need to consume mental power. Currently there are 10 positions in mustard space, which can accommodate 10 undead puppets. If the summoned creature is injured, it can also recover quickly in the mustard space. As the level increases, the capacity of the mustard space will also increase. Zhang Shuyu thought of the picture he saw when he woke up just now. The vision he saw during his awakening was completely different from what others saw. He saw a dragon soaring in the air, howling in pain from time to time. In an instant, it fell to the ground again, rolling wildly. Zhang Shuyu saw that Shenlong was covered with undead puppets, at least thousands of them. The undead puppet waved the sharp blade in its hand and kept hitting Shenlong. Each blow creates a horrific wound. But no matter how Shenlong struggled, it was of no avail. It has nothing to do but scream. In less than a minute, it fell down with a scream. The eyes completely lost their brilliance. This scene let Zhang Shuyu know how strong the undead puppet is. As long as a certain amount is reached, even Shenlong can be slaughtered. Zhang Shuyu believes that he can reach that level one day, slaying dragons like pigs. The awakening array burst into brilliant light, and Sun Yangyang's awakening ended. LV.1 Shield Warrior advanced Sun Yangyang. He really became a shield warrior as Sun Yangyang wished. And it's not an ordinary shield warrior, but a high-level shield warrior. Although both are shield warriors, there is an essential difference between the two, otherwise they are not qualified to be called high-level. Sun Yangyang ran back excitedly. Well, I'll just say I can be a shield warrior. Zhang Shuyu showed a rare smile and gave Sun Yangyang a thumbs up at the same time. Sun Yangyang laughed and patted Zhang Shuyu's shoulder. In the future, we will play dungeons together, and I will stand in front of you. Zhang Shuyu glanced at him. Don't you want to protect the nuns? I'm a man. Hey, the same. Zhang Shuyu couldn't bear it anymore. He clenched his fists and looked at him with a smile. Same. Sun Yangyang coughed lightly. Okay, you are so good. When you meet a girl, introduce them to me. The awakening of everyone is finally over. Ning Jie led them back to the big classroom. This time, all 108 disciples of Zan Yuzong awakened smoothly. Among them Zhang Shuyu was a hidden cultivator. There are 12 awakening art cultivators, 18 awakening dharma cultivators, and the rest are mortals. This ratio is not bad, and Ning Jie is also very satisfied. It is much more than the 11 people he expected. Disciples, the awakening is over. No matter what talent you awaken into, you have to work hard to upgrade and use more skills to increase your proficiency. From tomorrow, our novice copy of Xuanyu City will be open to all disciples. All disciples can enter the dungeon for actual combat upgrades. Mortal disciples don't need to worry, the sect has arranged a life skills hall for you, and there are elders there who will teach you to master various talents. I hope that in the big exam a week later, all the disciples can get good rankings and enter their favorite holy places. The information about the novice copy is basically clear to everyone. The monsters inside are almost all concentrated in levels 1 to 10. And the number is not many, the difficulty is very low. It is much safer than the outskirts of Xuanyu City. Of course, instead of going to the novice dungeon, you can go directly to the suburbs to practice. As for life and death, conceded. After the disciples disbanded, Shu Wan stopped Zhang Shuyu. Sun Yangyang said with a grin, "Miss Shu, what's the matter? Have you taken a fancy to our family Shuyu?" Roll. Decree. Sun Yangyang rolled very simply. Shu Wan is 1.7 meters tall, with a graceful figure and an extremely delicate face. Many people regard her as a goddess. It's a pity that Zhang Shuyu is taller, 183, even Shu Wan needs to look up. "Zhang Shuyu, I want to compete with you." Zhang Shuyu looked at her with question marks on his face. Shu Wan knew that Zhang Shuyu didn't like to talk, so she spoke directly. "Who is ranked higher in the big exam between me and you, do you dare?" "Oh." Zhang Shuyu groaned and walked around Shu Wan. Shu Wan stomped her feet. "That's it, I won't lose to you forever." Shu Wan originally thought that her rare cultivator today could hold Zhang Shuyu down firmly. Unexpectedly, a hidden cultivator came to Zhang Shuyu. No matter how strong or weak the ghost cultivator necromancer is, it's clear she's lost again from the vision alone. Shu Wan will not admit defeat. Zhang Shuyu walked back home, but there was no one there. He simply made something to eat. The furnishings in the room are very simple, there is almost no furniture, and a portrait on the wall is very conspicuous. In the portrait is Zhang Shuyu, a young and beautiful woman, and an old man with gray hair. The Zhang Shuyu inside is smiling under the sunshine, which is completely different from his current melancholy appearance. In addition to him, the young woman and the old woman in the portrait are also very happy. The portrait was painted 3 years ago, and he traveled across time, inheriting the memories and emotions of the original owner, and has a deep affection for the person in the portrait. In the previous life on Earth, he was an orphan, but here, he has relatives who love him, and he cherishes them very much. It's a pity that the good times didn't last long. 2 years ago, my grandmother died of illness, and 1 year ago, my sister went to Xuanwu Holy Land. Now he is alone at home. Zhang Shuyu's words became less and less, more and more indifferent. "I want to go to Xuanwu Holy Land too," Zhang Shuyu said firmly in his heart. Not for anything else, because Zhang Shuli was there. It's just that the threshold for Xuanwu Holy Land is too high. Last year, in the entire Xuanyu City, Zhang Shuli was the only one who performed well. There was a knock on the door outside. Sect Master Ning. Ning Jie stood at the door with a bag of things. "Shuyu, there is some food here, you take it and put it in the storage circle to eat slowly. I'll bring you fresh ones in a few days." Zhang Shuyu took the food. "Thank you, suzerain." Ning Jie nodded. "I'm going to the dungeon tomorrow, you should have a good rest." Over the past year, Ning Jie has sent some food over every few days. This is what he promised Zhang Shuli. Last year, Zhang Shuli was picked up by Xuanwu Holy Land as the chief disciple of Xuanyu City. But Zhang Shuli didn't want to go because he wanted to stay and take care of his younger brother Zhang Shuyu. Once you go to Xuanwu Holy Land, you will not be able to return for at least 3 years. Ning Jie kept doing a lot of ideological work for Zhang Shuli, and promised that he would take good care of Zhang Shuyu, the Xuanwu Holy Land that Zhang Shuli agreed to go to. You know, in a small city like Xuanyu City, it is a very honorable thing for a disciple to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land. This is especially true for Zan Yuzong and Ning Jie. Ning Jie did what he said, and he has always taken care of Zhang Shuyu this year. At night, Zhang Shuyu was studying his own skills, and his mental strength had been recovered, so he could summon another undead puppet at any time. The yellow diamond-shaped crystal on his earlobe shone faintly, but Zhang Shuyu couldn't see it. When he was about to summon, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Detected host awakening ghost cultivator necromancer talent. Close black lens bracket. The talent meets the requirements, and the data-based cultivation system is being bound. Close black lens bracket. Start to extract the origin of the world, optimize skills. Congratulations to the host for awakening the only purple level mythical talent, all skills bonus LV.1. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the passive skill, damage transfer. Close black lens bracket. Zhang Shuyu lifted his spirits and immediately checked his attributes. Open black lens bracket name, Zhang Shuyu close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket talent, Ghost Cultivator Necromancer unique close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket level, 0.00% close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power, 10 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility, 10 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket spirit, 20 close black lens bracket. Equipment, none. Mustard space, 1/10, undead puppet quantity, 1. Talent, all skills bonus LV.1, uniqueness. Passive skill, damage transfer. Active skills, soul fire LV.1, summon undead puppet LV.1. All skills bonus LV.1, all skills increased by 1000%. Close black lens bracket. The skills in it have these functions respectively. Injury transfer. All damage suffered by the wizard itself is borne by the summoned creature. Close black lens bracket. Soul fire LV. 1 burns the target's soul, causing burning damage. The power depends on one's own mental power and skill level. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket summon undead puppet LV. 1 summons a red level undead puppet. Close black lens bracket. The basic attributes have not changed, only a talent and a passive skill have been added. But both of these are geniuses. Needless to say, talent, the only purple level mythical talent, only LV.1 can increase all skills by 10 times. How strong this talent is, Zhang Shuyu can no longer accurately describe in words. Even though he was always indifferent, there was a little shock on his face at this moment. Passive skills are also amazing, and can be called mythical level. All damage is transferred to minions. In other words, as long as he summons the immortal light, he will not die. If you want to kill him, you must kill all the summoned creatures first. If there are tens of thousands of summoned creatures, Zhang Shuyu is comparable to an immortal body. This kind of skill was unheard of, and it took Zhang Shuyu a long time to recover from the shock. He found that his earlobe had become empty. So it's you, little one. Zhang Shuyu was a little depressed, it was a gift from his sister. Forget it, just find another one to make the same one day. Activate the skill, summon the red level puppet, and a vortex appears in front of him. Accompanied by a heart-rending shrill sound, a red-ranked puppet stepped out of the vortex. On the surface, the red level puppet in front of him is no different from the puppet summoned in the afternoon. The shape hasn't changed much, it's still the same as the one picked up from the garbage dump, but don't just look at the surface of everything. Open black lens bracket red undead puppet close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power, 150 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility, 150 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket spirit, 150 close black lens bracket. Physique, 150. Skill, none. In the case of the same appearance, the attribute values have undergone earth-shaking changes. All attributes have been multiplied by 10 times. Not to mention strength, agility and spirit, 10 times the physique basically means that the vitality and defense of the undead puppets are all increased by 10 times. Combined with the damage transfer skill, it will be very difficult to kill Zhang Shuyu, and his long life will be more secure. Zhang Shuyu also released the undead puppet in the mustard space, and found that its attributes had also increased by 10 times. The all skills bonus also comes into play. With 10 points of mental power left, Zhang Shuyu summoned a red level puppet again. Then he began to absorb spiritual energy. Meditation is the best way to restore mental strength and can replace sleep. There are many disciples in the sect who can do it. In the early morning of the next day, Zhang Shuyu woke up on time, and his mental strength had fully recovered. 3 red puppets were faithfully guarding in front of him, motionless like bodyguards. As the soul fire in the puppet's head beat, there was a gust of wind in the room, and the temperature dropped several degrees. It should be good to use in summer, don't worry about the hot weather. Zhang Shuyu thought in his heart, the corners of his mouth slightly turned up. He used the summoning puppet again and summoned the fourth undead puppet. Then the 4 puppets were sent to mustard space. Retaining 10 points of spiritual power, and bringing 4 red level puppets that have increased by 10 times, Zhang Shuyu feels that it is completely enough. With a strength of 150, even level 7 or 8 shield fighters are nothing more than that. There is already a big black turtle waiting at the gate of the sect. This is the mount of the sect who is about to take them to the location of the copy. When they came to the dungeon, it was already overcrowded. It wasn't just the Xuanyu sect who came to the novice dungeon, almost all the awakened disciples in Xuanyu City would come. There are a total of 6 sects in Xuanyu City, and there are more than 800 disciples who awakened yesterday. Most of them became mortal. Those who can come here are less than 200, not even 1/3. The disciples stood together and waited while the elders of the sect went to check in for the dungeon. Sect Master Ning, you've made a lot of money this time. Yeah, a rare art practitioner is not enough, and the only hidden practitioner is here, it's really big. You Xuanyu sect have been amazing in the past 2 years. Last year, Zhang Shuli entered the Xuanwu Holy Land. Are you planning to knock on the gate of the Xuanwu Holy Land again this year? Several principals gathered around and chatted enthusiastically. Ning Jie's face was red now. Xu Wan and Zhang Shuyu were really good. If there is a chance, I also hope that they can enter the Xuanwu Holy Land. Xu Wan, is it the young lady from the Shu family? And Zhang Shuyu, why is this name so similar to Zhang Shuli? Ning Jie said, that's right, Xu Wan is the eldest lady of the Shu family, and Zhang Shuyu is Zhang Shuli's younger brother. No wonder, the Shu family's blood lineage has always been good. As for Zhang Shuyu, these siblings are really good. Sun Yangyang poked Zhang Shuyu, do you want to form a team? Facing Sun Yangyang's invitation, Zhang Shuyu shook his head. Sun Yangyang feigned anger, brat, do you look down on me? This young master invites you so sincerely, if you don't give me a reasonable explanation, this young master will definitely not let it go. Sun Yangyang looked angry, but in fact the smile in his eyes had already betrayed him. Zhang Shuyu ignored him, sure enough. Within 2 seconds, Sun Yangyang changed his face again. Boss, why don't you team up with me? Zhang Shuyu said lightly, team leveling is slow, solo leveling is fast. Sun Yangyang asked strangely, huh? How do you know? Read more books. Zhang Shuyu replied helplessly. Sun Yangyang scratched his head, obviously not convinced. At this time Xu Wan suddenly added from the side. Zhang Shuyu is right. Although it is faster to hunt monsters in a team, the experience must be shared equally. The speed of hunting monsters when 2 people form a team can be increased by half at most, but the time to find monsters is fixed, so the overall efficiency will slow down. According to the experience summed up by the predecessors, dungeons below level 10 are suitable for solo brushing, and dungeons above level 10 are suitable for team formation. Xu Wan made it very clear that Sun Yangyang was not stupid, so he understood after thinking about it. At this time, Ning Jie came over. Except for Xu Wan and Zhang Shuyu, all Shuyu must bring several Dharma practitioners into the dungeon. Don't always think about leveling up with a single swipe. You must know that after you go to the difficult dungeon in the future, you will not be able to do without Faxiu. If you usually don't want to take Dharma cultivation with you, and only look for it when you need it, how can there be such a beautiful thing? To put it bluntly, instead of looking for a Dharma cultivator you don't know, you might as well look for your brothers and sisters. At least you have a fellowship between you, and you won't run away alone if you are in danger. Ning Jie made it very clear, and it was true. It calmed down the people who had been single-handedly thinking. If the skill repair does not bring the law repair, the upgrade speed of the law repair will be very slow. Dharma cultivation also requires the cultivation of emotions. Someone asked, then why don't Xu Wan and Zhang Shuyu need to bring Faxiu? Ning Jie cleared his throat. The 2 of them are different. Xu Wan is going to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land and needs to upgrade quickly. And Xu Wan won't stay in the novice dungeon for too long, at most 2 days, she will leave here. As for Zhang Shuyu, the suzerain doesn't know his talent or his combat power, but you can ask the Faxiu around you if you would like to form a team with him. Several Dharma cultivators shook their heads. Most of those who become Dharma practitioners are girls. When these little girls saw Zhang Shuyu's undead puppet, they were frightened to death. How dare they stay with him? Zhang Shuyu said lightly, Sect Master, I also want to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land. The meaning is very clear, I don't want to form a team, I want to solo. Ning Jie was slightly surprised. Do you know how high the threshold of Xuanwu Holy Land is? Zhang Shuyu nodded, I have confidence. Ning Jie understood Zhang Shuyu's determination and bowed his head in thought. Okay, I hope you succeed. If you want to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land, you must first meet the level requirements. At least LV.15 or above, the safest is LV.18. Last year, Zhang Shuli was invited by Xuanwu Holy Land with a horror level of LV.20. In just 1 week, it is not easy to upgrade to LV.15. As for LV.18, it is even more difficult. The most advanced monster in the novice dungeon is LV.10, and it is impossible to upgrade to LV.15. And the danger level in the suburbs is much higher than that of the novice dungeon. Cultivators like them who have just stepped into the threshold will only die if they rush into the world. Of course, in addition to grade requirements, there are some other conditions. You will have to wait until the final exam to find out. At Ning Jie's request, several cultivators have chosen to practice Dharma. Either 2 or 3 formed a team. Sun Yangyang chose a prophetic law repairer. The prophet can not only provide him with boosts in time, but also heal and give him all-round bonuses. After completing the formalities, the sect distributed weapons and equipment to everyone. The practitioners were assigned different weapons according to their talents. I'm handsome. Sun Yangyang was very excited when he got a giant sword and a shield. It also imitates the popular images of the Forum Square in Yujianjiang. And Zhang Shuyu got a staff. Open black lens bracket staff close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket spiritual power +1 close black lens bracket. With just a little bit of bonus, there is no difference between whether there are weapons or not, they can only pretend. Shu Wan had weapons prepared by her own family, and did not want any from the sect. Her equipment is a spellbook. Zhang Shuyu could feel that there was a more tyrannical aura circulating in the magic book, it should be a good weapon. Before entering the dungeon, Shu Wan said to Zhang Shuyu, shall we compare? How about who can level up faster? Zhang Shuyu only raised his eyebrows, neither agreeing nor refusing. Shu Wanjiao snorted and raised her head, if you don't answer, I will take it as your agreement. As soon as the voice fell, she turned and entered the copy. The corners of Zhang Shuyu's mouth raised slightly, such a competitive spirit. Then, he also went in. The environment of the novice dungeon is a forest, lush and lush, with relatively high vegetation. Many smaller monsters can hide in the bushes and are difficult to find. And because this is the novice area, the density of monsters is not high, which is quite safe. But this also caused a serious problem, the time to find monsters was longer than the time to fight. The purpose of the novice dungeon is to make newcomers get used to fighting and get used to fighting. Zhang Shuyu released 4 undead puppets. Let's go find the monster. With a thought, the 4 undead puppets ran out in 4 directions. Crunch. When they are running, there are gusts of wind all over their bodies. Tisk. The speed is not bad. The undead puppet's agility attribute of up to 150 is not a decoration. In the blink of an eye, the 4 puppets had already run tens of meters away. At this time, an undead puppet waved the broken sword in his hand. Successfully kill slime, experience +1 2.5. The slime, which was only LV.1, was instantly killed by the undead puppet. Zhang Shuyu couldn't help but slander, even though he knew from the simulated battle that there were many Western elements in this world of comprehension, but after being there, he couldn't bear to look directly at it. Experience increased by 1.25%. Each LV.1 Q-bomb slime can increase experience by 1%, kill 80 to reach LV.2. Successfully kill slime, experience +1 2.5. Successfully kill slime, experience +1 2.5. Continuous prompts appeared, and the 4 undead puppets kept finding slimes. In just a few minutes, Zhang Shuyu's experience has increased by 12.5%. This efficiency is quite high. Zhang Shuyu originally planned to stay in the novice dungeon for 2 days and leave after level 10. Now it seems that it will not take 2 days. At this time, Zhang Shuyu's spiritual power had recovered, and he released his skills to summon a red-level undead puppet again. This undead puppet naturally joined the big team looking for monsters. Zhang Shuyu sat down and began to meditate. Half an hour later, Zhang Shuyu ushered in his first upgrade. Level up, attributes increase. The capacity of the mustard space has changed from 10 to 20, which is enough to hold 20 undead puppets. The skill level also increases accordingly. I don't know if there is any change in the attributes of the undead puppets in LV.2. Zhang Shuyu remembered that as the skill level increased, the attributes of the summoned creatures should also increase. Because of the upgrade, the mental power was completely restored. Zhang Shuyu activated his skills and summoned a red-level undead puppet again. This time Zhang Shuyu found something different. The spiritual power consumed by LV.2 skills has increased, and the consumption of a red-level puppet has increased from 10 to 15. Although the LV.2 undead puppet is also red level, its body is obviously brighter, and its brown color has faded a lot. At the same time, the cracks on its body are less visible to the naked eye. Moreover, all attributes have increased by 100 compared to LV.1, and strength, agility, spirit, and constitution have directly changed from 150 to 250. Zhang Shuyu knew that the increase was not that exaggerated, the main reason was that his talent was too strong. Otherwise, the LV.2 puppet is just scum with an average value of 25. The 4 attributes are balanced, and the total increase is 40 points, which is actually normal. Although it is not weak, it is not too strong to be outrageous. The key lies in talent, mythical talent. This talent and ghost cultivation are really a perfect match. Zhang Shuyu continued to use skills to summon 1 undead puppet, increasing the number of undead puppet to 7. The 7 undead puppets are 7 gold medal thugs. They spread out, constantly looking for monsters to kill in the novice copy. No matter if it was LV.1, LV.2, or even LV.3, under their broken swords, they were all instantly killed without exception. After all, their attributes are too strong. Even without any skills, undead puppets have extremely strong attack power. The strength attribute of 250 should not be much worse than LV.10 sword repair. A mere LV.2 undead puppet, with an attack power comparable to LV.10, can walk sideways in the novice dungeon. Most importantly, Zhang Shuyu has 7. No, 7 is just the starting price, hollow down pointing triangle. After recovering his mental strength, at level 3, he will have 11 of them. Kill LV.2 Ghost Blue Civet, experience plus 2.5. Kill LV.3 Lightning Mouse, experience plus 3.7.5. Kill LV.4 Colorful Wild Boar, experience plus 5.0. Instant kills, all the way or instant kills, without any suspense. Facing an attack power of at least LV.10, these monsters of LV.3 and LV.4 died very smoothly without any pain. Zhang Shuyu followed the trajectory of the puppets' actions and walked forward like a walk. As the undead puppets ran farther and farther, a map of the secret realm gradually formed in Zhang Shuyu's mind. Is there such a function? The places walked by undead puppets will be automatically recorded. In addition to killing monsters, the undead puppet has also become a fully automatic map plotter. In just 1 hour, the experience is approaching the end of the progress bar again, and he will face an upgrade again. He even gave up on entering meditation. With such a fast upgrade speed, what kind of bicycle do he want? Wouldn't it be nice if the mental power would recover automatically after the upgrade? The undead puppets strike one at a time, ruthlessly and mercilessly. At this time, Zhang Shuyu saw a monster that was not killed by the undead puppet. LV.2 Yulin Civet. Lying in the grass, missed by the undead puppet. Little lucky cat, it's a pity that you met me. Zhang Shuyu thought in his heart. A lotus fire was burning on the palm of his hand. Soul Fire. This is his only attack skill currently. Lianwo appeared on the body of the LV.2 Yulin Civet in an instant like a teleportation. LV.2 Yulin Civet let out a scream and fell to the ground, its body twitched twice. Facing the 10-fold increase in attack skills, the Yulin Civet is only left to be killed in seconds. Kill LV.2 Ghost Blue Civet, experience +25. The Yulin civet was dead, but on the surface, there was no sign of being burned. Zhang Shuyu understood that what soul fire attacks is the soul of the target. This skill is a spiritual attack. I was shocked again in my heart. Psychic attacks have a common characteristic, ignoring defense. No matter how strong your physical defense is and how high your mana defense is, you can't resist spiritual attacks. Hidden practitioners are really powerful, and the only two skills are very powerful. Even if there is no talent bonus, the Ghost Cultivator will not be weaker than any legendary monk. Zhang Shuyu has his own judgment, which may not be comprehensive or objective, but he believes in his own guess. It's pretty close. At 99% of the experience progress, Zhang Shuyu quickly summoned a puppet when his mental power had recovered to 15, and let the puppets continue hunting. A beam of light rushed out from his body and upgraded. All attributes have been increased by 10 again, and the mental power consumed has also increased to 20. The undead puppet skill has also been upgraded to LV.3. The 4 attributes increased by 10 again, and after the increase was 100, reaching an astonishing 350. Zhang Shuyu continued to use the skill of summoning puppets, and summoned 3 undead puppets in a row. There are now 11 undead puppets in the dungeon. 11 undead puppets ran rampant in the dungeon like a sweep. Kill LV.4 Colorful Wild Boar, experience +50. Kill LV.5 Double-Faced Fox, experience +62.5. Even a LV.5 monster, as long as it faces the undead puppet, it will end up killing it instantly with a sword. Zhang Shuyu doesn't need to do anything at all, he just needs to wait for the experience to be gained. According to this speed, at most 1.5 hours, you can upgrade to another level. As for others, it's good to be able to upgrade to LV.3 on the first day, and it will only get slower and slower later on. After all, Sect Master Ning asked them to upgrade to LV.10 in a week. LV.10, to enter the Holy Land. Unless you want to enter the top 50 holy places in the mainland, you need LV.11 or even LV.12. Outside the dungeon, several suzerain bosses started chatting and comparing each other again. They gathered around a table, made tea, and talked nonsense. I don't know how many levels this year's little dolls can advance on the first day. Who remembers what level the previous highest record was? I remember it was LV. 6, Zhang Yuyan before, and Zhang Shuli last year were both LV. 6. Zhang Yuyan and Zhang Shuli are monks who are rare gifted monks, and so is Shu Wan this year. They should be similar. Well, the upgrade speed on the first day can be seen in the next few days. If girl Shu Wan doesn't reach LV.6 on the first day, it will be difficult for her to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land. Ning Jie became worried when he heard them talking. I don't know how many levels Zhang Shuyu can rise to, but it shouldn't be bad for a hidden practitioner, right? After LV.6, the upgrade speed will be greatly slowed down. When everyone enters the dungeon, the countdown will start, and when the 6-hour time limit is up, they will automatically leave. It depends on how many levels can be upgraded in these 6 hours. Suddenly, a huge breath rushed over. Ning Jie raised his head and waved to the person who came. Master Shu, please come and sit down. Shu Mingrui, the head of the Shu family in Xuanyu City, Shu Wan's father. There was still room at the table, so Shu Mingrui sat down unceremoniously. How are the suzerains? After sitting down, he greeted several people. Shu Mingrui has a resolute appearance, not angry but pretentious. Ning Jie poured Shu Mingrui a cup of tea. Master Shu is here to see girl Shu Wan, right? Shu Mingrui chuckled. In the past few years, Wanner has been taken care of by Sect Master Ning. Ning Jie waved his hand. I didn't do anything. Shu Wan's child is very smart, and this awakening was also very successful. I've heard from people in the mansion, but it's a pity that I only returned to Xuanyu City today, and I couldn't catch up with Wanner's awakening. Ning Jie knew that Shu Mingrui was very busy and didn't have much time in Xuanyu City. We were just discussing whether girl Shu Wan can reach level 6 at the end of today's dungeon. After all, it is quite difficult for her to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land. It shouldn't be a problem. It doesn't matter even if it's almost there. I can go find someone. Ning Jie shook his head. I suggest you don't do this. I know Shu Wan's child's temperament. If that's true, she will hate you. Shu Mingrui sighed. Why doesn't he know the child's temperament? Shu Mingrui changed the subject. I heard that after awakening yesterday, the noble sect also produced a hidden cultivator. Congratulations. I don't know what kind of talent it is. Ning Jie's face lit up. Talent, it's a ghost cultivator. It's something I haven't seen since the mainland changed its cultivation system. It can summon puppets, and I don't know if it's powerful or not. Not all hidden practitioners are powerful, and it is not uncommon for garbage hidden practitioners to appear. Can a puppet be summoned? It sounds a little sinister. Moreover, ghost cultivator's name doesn't seem too nice. Dealing with ghosts will inevitably make people's imaginations run wild. Ning Jie saw Shu Mingrui's thoughts. Don't worry, Shu Yu is a good boy even though he doesn't talk much. His older sister entered the Xuanwu Holy Land last year. If girl Shu Wan goes to Xuanwu Holy Land, maybe you can ask Zhang Shuli to take care of her. With Ning Jie's guarantee, Shu Mingrui felt relieved. Having known each other for many years, he knows best what kind of person Ning Jie is. In the novice dungeon, Zhang Shuyu received a message from the undead puppet. The limit distance has been reached, and it is impossible to continue away. Close black lens bracket. At this time, the farthest undead puppet was standing 625 meters away from Zhang Shuyu and stopped moving forward. Zhang Shuyu also knew that the puppet was keeping at least 625 meters away from him. Seeing that several other puppets would also reach this distance, Zhang Shuyu could only order them to come back. It's impossible to be the shopkeeper by throwing your hands away, so Zhang Shuyu can only choose a direction to go deep. The 14 undead puppets opened the way ahead in a fan shape, keeping a distance of about 125 meters from Zhang Shuyu all the time. Any monsters encountered on the road will be instantly killed by undead puppets. In the 4.5 hours after entering the dungeon, Zhang Shuyu ushered in the 4th upgrade. After the upgrade, Zhang Shuyu continued summon undead puppet. At this time, the mental power consumed to summon an undead puppet has reached 30. 4.5 hours, 4 levels have been raised in a row. With more and more undead puppets, the upgrade speed has not decreased, but has a tendency to accelerate. With his puppet army, Zhang Shuyu officially stepped into the second half of the novice dungeon. A large number of LV.6 monsters and LV.7 monsters began to appear. But in front of the undead puppet with a power attribute as high as 550, it is all a matter of one sword. Kill LV.5 Double-Faced Fox, experience plus 62.5. Kill LV.6 Lightning Leopard, experience plus 75. For Zhang Shuyu, the efficiency of killing LV.1 monsters is the same as killing LV.6 monsters. So the higher the level, the greater the density of monsters, the better. 3 more undead puppets were summoned, and a total of 17 undead puppets began to wreak havoc. The experience value is increasing rapidly, and there are more undead puppets, and the upgrade speed does not decrease but increases. At this rate, it will take less than an hour to upgrade again. The time limit for the first day of the novice dungeon is 6 hours, 12 hours, so can I directly upgrade to LV.10? It's twice as fast as I expected. After reaching LV.10, you can go to the outskirts of Xuanyu City, where there are higher level monsters. Zhang Shuyu has already planned his upgrade route in his heart. Going to the outskirts of Xuanyu City requires the approval of the Zongmen, otherwise the guards in the city will not let him out. LV.10 is the minimum standard and cannot be lowered. Kill LV.8 Shield Earth Bear, experience plus 100. As Zhang Shuyu continued to go deeper, LV.8 and LV.9 monsters began to appear, and they were also instantly killed with one blow. The novice copy is created for novices. The intensity of monsters is low, the overall environment is simple, and the security is much higher than that in the suburbs. So even though Zhang Shuyu's leveling and brushing monsters is easy, he still won't take it lightly. In his memory, Zhang Shuli once returned from the outskirts of Xuanyu City, his body was bloodied and injured. She told Zhang Shuyu very seriously that the lion fights the rabbit with all his strength, and under no circumstances should he be unguarded. Zhang Shuyu kept this sentence firmly in his heart, and he is doing the same now. Level 599.00%. Looking at his stats, Zhang Shuyu was about to upgrade again. 17 undead puppets are killing all around, and their experience is steadily increasing. Compared with the previous level, this upgrade was faster, and it took only 50 minutes before and after. The number of undead puppets has increased, the density of monsters has increased, and the speed of killing monsters has not changed. This is why the upgrade rate has not decreased but increased. Zhang Shuyu analyzed his current situation. Now he has come to the depths of the novice dungeon. There are LV.8 and LV.9 monsters everywhere. Only the most advanced LV.10 monsters did not appear. The concentration of monsters here has increased, which is why he gains experience faster. The undead puppets are like tireless gold medal fighters, one by one with a sword, constantly harvesting the lives of monsters. The only pity is that the monsters in the novice dungeon will not drop anything. After all, this is a novice dungeon, a place for new monks to adapt to actual combat, which is very different from the suburbs. In the novice dungeon, almost all monsters are weakened as a whole. The only monster here is LV.10, which has not been weakened, and has maintained a strength comparable to that of suburban monsters. When you get to LV.10 and face LV.10 monsters, you should already have quite a lot of combat experience at that time. After LV.10, you can also leave the novice dungeon. Therefore, the LV.10 monsters are just a bridge, so that novice monks can experience the difficulty of suburban monsters in advance. In this way, when they actually go to the outskirts of the city to kill monsters, they won't be in a hurry. With the reappearance of the upgrade light beam, Zhang Shuyu finally reached LV.6. Attributes increase and skills improve. The strength of the undead puppet is also increased, and all attributes are increased by 100 again. Kill LV.8 Shield Earth Bear, experience plus 100. Kill LV.8 Shield Earth Bear, experience plus 100. The undead puppets did not stop their actions because of Zhang Shuyu's upgrade. They were still tirelessly looking for monsters, raising their hands and dropping their swords. From the moment Zhang Shuyu entered the dungeon, the undead puppets have not stopped. The upgrade has slowed down. Zhang Shuyu found that after reaching LV.6, the upgrade speed was greatly reduced. Originally at LV.6, killing a LV.8 Shield Earth Bear can gain about 0.2% experience. Only need to kill 500 is enough to upgrade. But after reaching LV.6, killing a LV.8 Shield Earth Bear can only bring about a 0.1% increase in experience. Then you have to kill 1000 to be able to upgrade. The upgrade speed has been doubled. According to this speed, it is very difficult for ordinary monks to rise to LV.10 in just 1 week. Even if we leave the copy and go to the outskirts of Xuanyu City, there is not enough time. The Xuanwu Holy Land is really difficult to test, and I don't know how my sister did it last year. Zhang Shuyu calculated in his mind that if he wanted to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land, he would need at least LV.15. If you want to upgrade to LV.15 within a week, then in the novice dungeon, you must upgrade to LV.10 within 3 days at least. After LV.10, go to the outskirts of Xuanyu City to hunt higher level monsters. Only in this way can it be possible to rise to LV.15 within a week. Thinking about it this way, Zhang Shuli was able to rise to LV.20 last year. It was really terrifying. Zhang Shuyu released his skills, exhausted his mental power again, and added 3 undead puppets. A total of 20 undead puppets are constantly looking for and killing monsters. For Zhang Shuyu, the time spent looking for monsters is indeed much higher than the time spent killing them. Isn't it just killing more than 1000 monsters, and distributing them to 20 undead puppets is not much? At most 1 hour, he can rise to LV.7. Who made him fight more? Zhang Shuyu kept moving forward, and the undead puppet opened the way for him, killing all the monsters hidden in the bushes one by one. After walking for a while, the terrain of the dungeon finally changed. The forest came to an end, and a mountain range appeared in front of it. Zhang Shuyu knew that this was the end of the novice dungeon. The LV.10 monster in the dungeon is hidden in the mountains. It took 6 hours and 42 minutes to enter the dungeon, less than 7 hours. I'm the only one who can reach the end of the dungeon, right? It has only been 7 hours since the dungeon opened, and most people probably only upgraded to LV.3. Even Shu Wan is at most LV.5, or even less than LV.5. Zhang Shuyu could feel that he was upgrading faster than anyone else. He kept walking towards the mountains, wanting to see how strong the unweakened LV.10 monster was. It's also good to prepare yourself for going to the outskirts of the city tomorrow. The undead puppet opened the way ahead and ran in one step ahead of Zhang Shuyu. There was a creaking sound in the forest, and the undead puppets ran fast in the forest looking for monsters. There are no monsters. The undead puppet did not find the monster. Zhang Shuyu felt strange and followed him in. The moment he walked into the mountain range, a rattan yanked towards him. The rattan fell on Zhang Shuyu like a long whip like lightning. The speed was so fast that Zhang Shuyu had no time to react. The seemingly powerful rattan did not cause any harm to Zhang Shuyu. Zhang Shuyu didn't even have the slightest feeling. It seems that there is an invisible shield outside the body to protect itself. Passive skill, damage transfer. Any damage he receives is automatically transferred to his puppet. Until the puppet dies, he will not take any damage. It is really a divine skill, not much worse than a mythical talent. Zhang Shuyu saw clearly the owner of the rattan. A big tree 5 meters wide. Zhang Shuyu's fingertips glowed slightly, releasing the detection technique. Detection is a skill that everyone knows, and it can obtain some basic information. LV.10,000 rattan banyan tree. Information. Usually in a dormant state, it will attack passing life forms. Close black lens bracket. When the undead puppet ran over just now, Qiantang Banyan did not attack, because the undead puppet was not a living body and had no breath of life. Qiantang Banyan continued to attack Zhang Shuyu. Although it won't cause any harm, Zhang Shuyu is not a fool. It is impossible to stand like this and let the tree hit him. Quickly retreated tens of meters, leaving the attack range of Qiantang Banyan. The 1,000-vine banyan tree does not move, and after Zhang Shuyu retreats, it will no longer attack. The long vines kept dancing, as if warning Zhang Shuyu. It's really well-intentioned. Zhang Shuyu understood the good intentions of the dungeon designer. From the greatly weakened low-level monsters to the LV.10 monsters with the same difficulty as the outside world. They also selected LV.10 monsters, choosing such a plant-type monster that can attack but can't move. The Qiantang Banyan tree has the sneak attack feature, allowing novice monks to experience the dangers of the outskirts of the city early. But it cannot move, and there is no such thing as chasing and killing monks. Once there is danger, the novice monk can retreat calmly and get out of its attack range. Moreover, the attack range of Qiantang Banyan tree is the same as that of several long-range methods. This also cuts off the possibility of opportunistic remote law repair. This design allows novices to fight against real LV.10 monsters while ensuring safety. The entire novice dungeon reveals the atmosphere of protecting novices and cultivating newcomers. In the case of reducing casualties as much as possible, let the newcomers adapt to actual combat and grow. Amidst the creaking sound, the undead puppet ran back. A total of 20 undead puppets surrounded Zhang Shuyu like an army. With the thought of Zhang Shuyu, an undead puppet rushed towards the Qiantang Banyan tree. Qiantang Banyan didn't respond to the inanimate body like the undead puppet. It wasn't until the undead puppet made the first move and slashed behind the tree with the broken sword in his hand that Qiantang Banyan tree began to fight back. The huge rattan was like a long whip, and it was drawn on the undead puppet, making a metal-hitting sound. Qiantang Banyan tree's attack speed was very fast. The rattan was dancing like crazy, and 3 or 4 attacks fell on the undead puppet every second. But the attributes of the undead puppet are too high as 650 constitution, and super thick blood volume and defense. On the attacked bone, some small cracks appeared, but they recovered quickly. Didn't get killed in seconds. Zhang Shuyu was a little surprised. The monsters from LV.1 to LV.9 are all the result of one-shot killing, but when it comes to monsters from LV.10, the situation has changed. Didn't the undead puppet kill the target instantly? This is the first time. Is this the strength of the monsters in the suburbs? I want to see how many swords you can withstand. 1 sword, 2 swords, 3 swords. After 4 strikes, Qiantang Banyan stopped all movements. Kill LV.10 Qiantang Banyan Tree, experience plus 200. See the reminder, the experience is much more than the LV.8 Shield Earth Bear. Zhang Shuyu calculated that in terms of cost performance, it would be more cost-effective to kill LV.8 monsters. After all, one sword has 100 experience points. The Qiantang Banyan Tree of LV.10 needs 4 swords, and only 200 experience. It looks high, but the price-performance ratio has actually fallen. However, the time to look for monsters must also be considered. If you waste your time looking for monsters, it would not be worthwhile to find low-level monsters. Looking at the mountains in front, there are densely packed Sentian trees, most of which are LV.10 Qiantang Banyan trees. As long as you look carefully, the Qiantang Banyan tree can still be distinguished from ordinary trees. Here, there is no need to look for monsters. There are hundreds of them just visible to the naked eye. In this way, the efficiency is greatly improved. This is simply a treasure land for leveling for him. Even Zhang Shuyu was a little excited at this time. With a thought, the undead puppets immediately separated and rushed in all directions. The swords in their hands kept falling on the Qiantang Banyan tree. 4 swords 1, very straightforward. Experience started to soar again. The upgrade speed of others after LV.6 is greatly reduced, but Zhang Shuyu is getting faster and faster. It was originally expected to take more than an hour to complete the upgrade. As a result, after only 50 minutes, Zhang Shuyu was promoted to LV.7. Outside the dungeon, the sky gradually darkened. The time has come to 7 o'clock in the evening. It has been a full 10 hours since I entered the copy at 9 o'clock in the morning. Outside the dungeon, Ning Jie, the suzerains, and Shu Mingrui remain silent. They have been drinking tea for a day, and meals have also been delivered, which is the case every year for several suzerains. From the first day the disciples enter the novice dungeon, they will always guard it. Although accidents are rare, there is no guarantee that they will never happen. After all, it is actual combat, and injuries are inevitable. It has also happened that a disciple died in a novice dungeon. Shu Mingrui has no intention of leaving. Shu Wan is in the dungeon, and he, the father, is also worried. He missed his daughter's awakening ceremony, and he didn't want to miss her daughter's first dungeon battle. At the entrance of the dungeon, a brilliant light suddenly radiated. Everyone looked up at the same time and looked over there. Someone came out. It's not time yet. Is there any accident? There are 2 exits in the dungeon. One is in the deepest part of the dungeon. It can be seen through the mountains guarded by LV.10 monsters. The other is the copy entry, from which you can also exit. Zhang Shuyu stepped out from the light. Ning Jie walked over quickly. Shuyu, why did you come out? Zhang Shuyu said softly, if you kill them all, you will come out. Kill them all, and come out. This made Ning Jie unable to understand for a while. Zhang Shuyu spoke too calmly, without even a little expression on his face. In the next second, Ning Jie saw Zhang Shuyu's level. Open black lens bracket LV.8 Ghost Cultivator Necromancer Zhang Shuyu close black lens bracket. Ning Jie was numb, with an unbelievable look on his face, and so did his tone. You, LV.8. Ning Jie even suspected that he was wrong. Shock took over his brain, and he couldn't react for a while. This is something that never happened. The previous highest record was only LV.6, and now Zhang Shuyu directly breaks out with LV.8. Only 5 hours. There are not enough monsters in it, otherwise it should be able to reach LV.10. Sect Master Ning, I want to apply to go to the outskirts of Xuanyu City. Zhang Shuyu took it for granted, and applied for leaving the city by the way. No one thought that there would be a day when all the monsters in the dungeon would be killed. After all, the monsters in the dungeon will be reset every day. No one has ever been able to clear all the monsters encountered in the entire dungeon within 6 hours. The novice dungeon is full of novices, little monks with little skills, low strength, and no experience. Especially the deepest LV.10 monster, the difficulty is not low. It is really the same monster as in the suburbs. But Zhang Shuyu did it, and it only took 5 hours, less than 5 hours. Completely break the rules. Ning Jie's brainstorm was working, and he couldn't figure it out no matter what. The whole person was almost turned into a statue. Sect Master Ning, Seeing that Ning Jie didn't respond, Zhang Shuyu called out again. He even stretched out his hand and waved it in front of his eyes. After a while, Ning Jie finally came to his senses and agreed repeatedly. Okay, I'll get you the city rune right now. You rest for a while, and wait for your classmates to come out before sending you back. Zhang Shuyu proved his strength with practical actions and got the rune of leaving the city. His plan can also be carried out smoothly. When Ning Jie returned to the table, the other suzerains all looked at him, their eyes sparkling with desire for knowledge. Old Ning, what happened to you just now? Why did that disciple come out early? Is there something wrong inside? Yeah, he's not injured, is he? Why is he alone? Where are his teammates? Ning Jie drank 3 cups of tea and took 2 deep breaths before speaking. He is Zhang Shuyu. He cleared the novice dungeon and killed all the LV.10 monsters. Hiss. Several suzerains couldn't help but gasped. Shu Mingrui, who was used to seeing strong winds and waves, was also shocked at this time. They all noticed that Zhang Shuyu has reached level 8. Not to mention anything else, it took 5 hours to upgrade from LV.1 to LV.8, the upgrade speed is beyond the sky. What's more, Zhang Shuyu can kill all the LV.10 monsters in the dungeon, which is enough to show how strong he is. Hidden practitioners are really powerful. Shu Mingrui sighed. That's the only way to explain it. If calculated in this way, the ghost cultivator should surpass the rare talent monks known so far, and can be completely comparable to the legendary talent monks. I don't know how strong a legendary monk is. After all, we have never seen it, but we have seen rare talent monks. They are not so efficient. I just don't know if Zhang Shuyu will still be so strong after the level rises. Indeed, for example, the elemental summoner that Shu Wan awakened this time is actually the same at the beginning, and it is not much different from other summoning skills. But if you can get the passive skill of element enhancement, you will be comparable to a legendary monk. The suzerains are all experienced. I know that some monks' talents are very strong in the early stage, but they start to weaken in the later stage. There are also some talents, which are not very good at the beginning, but will become stronger and stronger in the future. And it also depends on skills and talents, and there are huge differences between the same talents. There are hundreds of talents in everything, and it's hard to tell in one word. Ning Jie glanced at Zhang Shuyu, who was entering meditation not far away, with some expectation in his heart. At least for now, Zhang Shuyu's ghost cultivation talent is very powerful. It seems that it will not be under our control in the future, right? It's true, if he can enter the Xuanwu Holy Land, then the Xuanwu Holy Land should take care of it. Shu Mingrui said with emotion, Wanner has always been competitive since she was a child, I'm afraid she will be hit this time. Ning Jie couldn't help laughing out loud. Where, not just this time, you don't know that you are often not in Xuanwu City. In fact, Zhang Shuyu has been dominating Shu Wan for the past few years. Shu Wan has been the second child for 3 years. That's it. Shu Mingrui smiled wryly. Shu Wan never told herself. He understood his daughter's temper. The more he didn't say anything, the more angry she felt. Zhang Shuyu is slowly recovering his mental strength through meditation. At this time, the number of his undead puppets has reached 24, but the mustard space has a full 70 positions. Undead puppets only accounted for 1/3 of it. It will take a lot of time to fill up the rest. At 9 o'clock in the evening, the 6-hour dungeon ends. The disciples who went in before were sent out one by one. After 6 consecutive hours of fighting, the faces of many disciples were full of exhaustion. But more excited. The feeling brought by actual combat is completely different from studying in the sect. Many people's robes were stained with blood, and there was a strong smell of blood. A breeze blew, and an elder released a cleansing technique, dispelling the smell of blood from everyone. The elders of each sect got busy, gathered their disciples and counted the number of people. Checked to see if anyone is injured and needs medical treatment. After a lot of busy work, the result was not bad, everyone started and finished. Most of them have risen to LV.3, and some of them have already reached LV.5. Shu Wan was equally excited. After a day of fighting, she was already at LV.6, reaching the highest record for disciples of various sects to enter the novice dungeon for the first time over the years. HMPH. I'm sure I won't lose this time. The highest record is only LV.6, and I have already achieved it. Where did that guy go? After coming out, she didn't see Zhang Shuyu. A pair of beautiful eyes searched around, only to see Zhang Shuyu, who was in meditation in the distance. Impossible. When did he come out? Then her eyes widened, like an electric shock, and she froze in place, numb. How is it possible? How did he reach LV.8? Wanner. Shu Mingrui's voice brought back Shu Wan's thoughts. Daddy, why are you here? Shu Wan walked up to Shu Mingrui, and yelled obediently. At this moment, Shu Wan didn't look arrogant at all. Shu Mingrui's eyes were doting. Let's go home. Shu Mingrui came here on a flying magic weapon, so he doesn't need to go back on a spirit beast with other fellow disciples. Shu Wan followed Shu Mingrui to the flying magic weapon, but she still couldn't hold back her eyes. Looking at Zhang Shuyu frequently, she really wanted to see through Zhang Shuyu. Wondering how that guy got to LV.8. Shu Mingrui noticed the look in his daughter's eyes. Wanner, are you competing with Zhang Shuyu? Shu Wan suddenly looked like a deflated ball. Yeah, I lost again. That brat is too hateful. Shu Mingrui laughed loudly. Then do you want daddy to solve it? No. Before Shu Mingrui could finish speaking, Shu Wan resolutely refused. My own business, I will solve it myself, and I will not lose to that wood all the time. Shu Wan snorted, the fighting spirit in her eyes was burning. Shu Mingrui smiled even more happily. Okay, then I don't care about it, but I want to remind you that Zhang Shuyu has already come out before the 5th hour is over, and he is after killing all the LV.10 monsters in the instance, from. Shu Wan was startled again. Killed all LV.10 monsters. I have just reached the border area between LV.8 and LV.9 monsters. I haven't even seen what kind of LV.10 monster it is. She felt that her LV.6 could single out a LV.8 monster, which was already very powerful. Unexpectedly, Zhang Shuyu killed all the LV.10 monsters, and came out an hour earlier. In this way, if there are more LV.10 monsters, maybe this guy will directly rise to LV.10. Is the gap between me and him so big? Even if Shu Wan refuses to admit defeat, she is still a little frustrated now. Shu Mingrui patted her head. Each monk's talent has its own special features. Some talents are powerful when they are low level, and some talents will only exert their strength later. The temporary victory or defeat is nothing. Compared with him, Wanner, you should know that you are more powerful. There is an advantage. Shu Wan understood Shu Mingrui's implication. Her advantage is her background and sufficient resources. Whether it's equipment, skills, or treasures, she has everything. And someone who has no power and power like Zhang Shuyu will lack spirit stones, equipment, skills and treasures later on. Anyway, I won't admit defeat. Even if I am overwhelmed by you now, I will surpass you in the future. Shu Wan was only depressed for a while, and then her fighting spirit was ignited again. Shu Mingrui is very satisfied. This is what his daughter should look like. On the Dakshuan Gui of the Zongmen, Sun Yangyang deliberately moved beside Zhang Shuyu. I'm already LV.5, am I amazing? It's very fun to kill monsters with a female cultivator. It's much more interesting than you alone. Zhang Shuyu looked at this bastard speechlessly. How can he not be happy? I'm going. I didn't notice just now. Why are you LV.8? Brother, are you clearing all the monsters in the dungeon? My survival is only LV.5. How did you get your LV.8? Are you the reincarnation of a god? Sun Yangyang's voice of common anger was so loud that almost everyone could hear it. Only then did everyone notice that Zhang Shuyu had really reached level 8. Everyone's LV.3, LV.4 or so, when LV.5 is awesome. Zhang Shuyu turned out to be LV.8. All of a sudden, the Dakshuan turtle became lively. Although many people are still afraid of Zhang Shuyu, afraid of him as a ghost cultivator and the undead puppets he summons. But being close to the strong is also the normal psychology of many people. Someone wants to talk to Zhang Shuyu and get in touch with him. But Zhang Shuyu remained silent, and the fear of the undead puppets made them hesitate. Quiet. Ning Jie let out a low drink, and the Dakshuangui who had just made a noise suddenly became quiet again. Sun Yangyang rubbed his head. Sorry, I was too excited just now. Boss, can you take me to level up? Zhang Shuyu said, if there is a chance, yes. Sun Yangyang was overjoyed immediately. Then it's settled. Early the next morning, Sun Yangyang couldn't wait for Zhang Shuyu at the gate of the sect. Sect Master Ning, why didn't Zhang Shuyu come? Ning Jie glanced at him. He's gone to the outskirts of Xuanyu City. Ah, only then did Sun Yangyang realize that he had been tricked by Zhang Shuyu. No wonder you promised so happily yesterday. He couldn't help but let out a scream. Zhang Shuyu, you cheated brother. Luo Hua intentionally follows the flowing water, and the flowing water loves Luo Hua mercilessly. I will never end with you. Zhang Shuyu has arrived at the south gate of Xuanyu City through the teleportation array. The tall city wall stands here, separating the human race and the monsters. Leaving the city wall, you will enter the monster area. The weakest monster here has LV.10. Compared with the novice dungeon, the monsters here are much stronger. Similarly, you can gain more experience by killing monsters here, and you can also collect various materials. With luck, some monsters will even drop weapons and magic weapons. These things can be used by themselves, or they can be used to sell spirit stones. There are many shops on both sides of the street at the entrance and exit of the city wall. There are blacksmith shops, weapon shops, magic weapon shops and so on. The most important of these is the Xuanwu Chamber of Commerce. Unique to the Chamber of Commerce, it was founded by Emperor Xuanwu, and it spreads all over the large, medium and small cities in the mainland. In the Chamber of Commerce, you can freely buy and sell equipment, materials, pills, talismans and everything else. You can also sell things directly to the Chamber of Commerce, or consign them in the Chamber of Commerce. In addition to trading, you can also accept various tasks in the Chamber of Commerce. Zhang Shuyu came to the Chamber of Commerce for the first time, and he had only seen it in the scrolls of the sect before. In the Xuanwu Chamber of Commerce, there are hundreds of stone pillars half the height of a person. A strange gem is inlaid above each stone pillar, and all functions of the Chamber of Commerce can be completed through this strange gem. Therefore, the Chamber of Commerce is also known as the embodiment of the highest skill of the mythical artifact refining Tao. Zhang Shuyu found an empty seat and put his hand on the strange stone. Identity verification. Zhang Shuyu, a citizen of Xuanwu Continent, is allowed to use the function of Xuanwu Chamber of Commerce, contribution value, 0, permission, LV.1. The Xuanwu Chamber of Commerce is only open to the people of the Xuanwu Continent. Zhang Shuyu has the authority to use the Chamber of Commerce, but the authority level is very low, only LV.1. If you want to have greater authority, you can only increase the contribution value. But that's all for the future, and has nothing to do with him for the time being. He glanced at the items for sale in the Chamber of Commerce, and there were everything. But everything is not cheap. There are a total of 100 spirit stones on Zhang Shuyu's body, and he can't even afford the cheapest red-level weapons. As for those more expensive orange grades, yellow grades. Cough. Just take a look, it has nothing to do with him. After Zhang Shuyu wrote down the prices of some low-level materials, he began to browse the task list again. The level of monsters in the outskirts of Xuanyu City is concentrated between 10 and 25, which belongs to the low-level area. The number of related tasks is not too much, most of them are tasks of collecting materials. Long-term recycling of dream heron grass, recycling price, 50 lingxi copy. Close black lens bracket. Long-term recycling of thunderbolt tiger skin, recycling price, 20 lingxi copy. Close black lens bracket. Long-term recycling of monster bones, recycling price, 30 spirit stones copy. Close black lens bracket. Pharmacists, blacksmiths, and other mortals need a lot of materials for skill training. They process the materials into useful things and sell them, and they can get a certain income from them. During training, Fansho can also increase his level. In this way, a good cycle is formed. Compared with the world of self-cultivation, where life and death depended entirely on strength, in this world of self-cultivation, even ordinary cultivators can have a good room for development. This task is interesting. Clear the LV.17 Xuanyu City Quarry Dungeon and get the beast core of the dungeon boss Greedy Demon King. Close black lens bracket. Note: only dungeon bosses above the difficulty level will drop. Close black lens bracket. The reward given by the task is 100,000 spirit stones. To be able to get such a price, this task is obviously not low. The Xuanyu City Quarry is to the south of Xuanyu City, which is more than 50 kilometers away from the city. Zhang Shuyu didn't plan to go. The dungeon of LV.17 requires a minimum of LV.12 to enter. His current level is not enough, so I don't know if it counts as looking for death. For beginners, the difficulty of the dungeon can be divided into normal, difficult, and Asian. How difficult is the difficulty level, Zhang Shuyu doesn't know. According to the elder's description, the difficulty level is at least several times that of the normal level. Without a strong team, it is basically impossible to attack. As for the difficulty of the Asian level, it is not something that ordinary monks can go to. By the way, Zhang Shuyu saw the Asian level before he was sure that the games integrated into the world of self-cultivation were developed in the West. He still remembers the emotional damage that became popular all over the world. Zhang Shuyu watched for a while, then left the Chamber of Commerce and came to the gate of the city. LV.8. Ghost Repair. Zhang Shuyu. The city gate guards took the exit rune given by Zhang Shuyu and confirmed Zhang Shuyu's information. They are puzzled. You're only LV.8, how could the Zongmen allow you to leave the city? You must know that the monsters outside the city are at least LV.10, which is very dangerous. However, the rune of leaving the city was real, and the guards of the city gate quickly passed the verification. Your rune for leaving the city has already taken effect. Unless there are special circumstances, you can freely enter and leave the major cities of my Xuanwu continent in the future. There are many monsters outside, you should pay attention to safety and be careful in everything. If you can't, run back quickly. It doesn't matter if you lose face, your life is the most important thing. Especially at night, some monsters specially choose to attack at night. The city gate guards kindly told Zhang Shuyu. Zhang Shuyu cupped his fists to salute him. Thank you, big brother, I will be careful. Walking out of the city gate, a biting cold wind blows head on. The sky suddenly darkened several degrees, and the air was filled with oppressive atmosphere. Inside and outside the city are like two worlds. This city wall is not simple. A city wall divides two worlds. Zhang Shuyu stepped forward and quickly disappeared into the wilderness. The air became more and more oppressive, filled with the smell of bloodthirsty. From time to time, the roar of beasts could be heard in the distance. Occasionally, people can be seen killing monsters here. Basically, they are monks above LV.10. The city wall behind him had long since disappeared, and his vision was shrouded in a thin layer of fog. With a thought, an undead puppet came out of the mustard space. At this time, there were 28 undead puppets in the mustard space. After recovering his spirit through meditation last night, Zhang Shuyu summoned 4 more undead puppets. Zhang Shuyu looked at a monster 20 meters away. Go, kill the monster in front. The undead puppet suddenly creaked and ran over. At the same time, Zhang Shuyu threw a detection spell. The greedy demon patrol soldier of LV.10 has a ferocious face and holds a Vajra. This monster is mainly based on strength, and its agility and spirit are pitifully low. The physique is not bad, which shows that the skin is rough and the flesh is thick. But this attribute is nothing compared to the undead puppet whose 4 attributes have reached 750. Here, the main monster group is the greedy monster. They occupy a very large area, and all the way to the quarry of Xuanyu City, 50 kilometers away, belong to the territory of the greedy demon. In the blink of an eye, the undead puppet had already rushed in front of the greedy demon. The greedy demon noticed the undead puppet and launched an attack first. The Vajra with the sound of breaking the wind, smash it over. The undead puppet did not dodge or dodge, and was directly hit by the Vajra. Boom! With a loud noise, the undead puppet shook. But that's all, the undead puppet has already raised the broken sword in his hand and slashed at it. The greedy demon patrolman was slashed, screamed loudly, and swung the Vajra harder to fight back. So you hit me with a stick, and I cut you with a sword. The two of you come and go, and they have a great time fighting. The Vajra smashed on the undead puppet, except for making it shake a few times, it did not cause any real damage. However, after the sword of the undead puppet fell on the greedy demon patrol soldier, it did real damage. After 5 sword strikes, the greedy demon patrol soldier let out a scream and fell into a pool of blood. Kill LV.10 Greedy Demon Patrolman, EXP plus 375. Obtain the bone of the Greedy Demon. Close black lens bracket. There is an extra bone material of a monster in Zhongshuyu's void storage domain. After awakening, everyone will get a void storage domain, and as the level increases, the void storage domain will also become larger. Various materials, equipment, food can be stored inside. You can throw everything in it, very convenient. Zhongshuyu tried to put the undead puppet in it, but it is not possible. After killing a greedy demon patrol soldier, Zhongshuyu already knew the strength of the LV.10 monster. Generally speaking, there is not much difference between monsters of the same level. With a thought, together with the puppets summoned last night, Zhongshuyu released all 32 undead puppets. Just like in the novice dungeon, these undead puppets quickly dispersed and began to look for monsters individually. The density of monsters in the suburban area was much higher than that of the novice dungeon, and Zhongshuyu's experience began to increase rapidly again, faster than in the novice dungeon. Kill LV.10 Greedy Demon Patrol, experience plus 375, get the Greedy Demon Bone. Close black lens bracket. Kill LV.10 Scary Grey Wolf, experience plus 350, get Smooth Wolf Skin. Close black lens bracket. The reminders began to swipe the screen like a bullet screen, and Zhongshuyu was a little dizzy watching it. At this rate, it would take less than an hour at most to upgrade to LV.10. That's right. Zhongshuyu clenched his fist, feeling a little excited in his heart. At this speed, it shouldn't be a problem to rise to LV.18 before the big exam. As for the higher level, it's hard to say, it depends on the experience changes after LV.10. The undead puppets spread out and moved forward, which also attracted the attention of some monks. When they saw the undead puppet for the first time, they thought it was a monster. After using the detection, it was discovered that this was a summoned creature. It's just that this summoned creature is too strong. Killing a LV.10 monster is as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. Some people have already started to find their owners. Fortunately, the undead puppets are relatively far away, and Zhongshuyu can retract them remotely, making them invisible. Zhongshuyu changed direction, left the wilderness and walked into the forest. In the forest, the terrain is complex, and the vision will be worse. It is easy to be attacked by high-level monsters, and the risk factor is higher. So most people don't like to go into the forest. All the undead puppets scattered and wandered in the forest. The terrain that is more complex than the novice dungeon is harmless to them. A topographic map gradually formed in Zhongshuyu's mind. Every plant and every tree is clear at a glance. After 1 hour, a beam of light appeared on Zhongshuyu's body for the second time. His level reached LV.10. The undead puppets kept killing one monster after another, continuously providing experience and items for Zhongshuyu. Nobody has ever been able to level up as easily as he has. The spiritual power of the law repairer will be exhausted, and the surgery repairer will also be exhausted after a long battle. Any monk needs rest to recover, but golems don't. As long as they are alive and not broken up, they can go on forever. There are no more monsters. Zhongshuyu looked at the empty forest. In just over an hour, he had already emptied the monsters inside. Zhongshuyu had no choice but to leave here and walk towards a deeper place. Before he knew it, he was getting farther and farther away from Xuanyu City. Walking all the way and brushing all the way, he is no longer limited to LV.10 monsters. From LV.11 to LV.15, even LV.16 monsters can be killed casually. At most, it is a matter of the undead puppet cutting a few more swords. After all, the physique of the undead puppet is there. You can't cut me down, but I can kill you. It's that simple. The LV.10 people swept away with a group of undead puppets with super high attributes. Wherever Zhongshuyu went, not a single monster survived. By the afternoon, Zhongshuyu's experience had reached LV.11, 99.00%, only one step away from LV.12. At this time, the number of puppets has also reached 44, like a tireless and terrifying army, prancing horses in this area, invincible. You can learn new skills at level 12, but unfortunately I don't have a skill scroll. It seems that we can only use talent skills to withstand it first. Fortunately, Talent is strong enough. Even if there are no new skills, it will not affect the upgrade. A monk can learn new skills every 12 levels. There are 3 ways to learn skills. One is to be taught by elders, the other is to learn through cheat books, and the third is to use scrolls of exercises. A hidden cultivator like Zhang Shuyu basically has no elders to teach him. And he is the only ghost cultivator, and there are no cheats for him to learn. The only way is the skill scroll. Scrolls of exercises can be bought in the Chamber of Commerce. The scrolls of elementary exercises used by monks below level 25 are priced at 100,000 spirit stones each, super expensive. Using the skill scroll, you will randomly get the skills corresponding to the talents. Because of this, it is also possible to get the skills you have learned. If such an oolong happens, it means that 100,000 spirit stones have been wasted. What's more, when the level is higher in the future, intermediate level exercise scrolls and advanced exercise scrolls will be needed, and the price will be astronomical. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.